There are two important things you want to provide your hamster with. The first one being a large enclosure and the second one being lots of enrichment. But once you get the large enclosure, where do you start with setting it up and what enrichments do you have to provide your hamster with? The first thing you want to add into the enclosure is anything that's placed on stilts. When setting up a hamster enclosure, it's important to place heavy items on stilts or platforms, as this allows the hamster to burrow without the risk of any items crushing them or sinking into them. I got my dowels from Getsu and just attached them to the platforms and other hideouts with non-toxic safe glue. Here you can see me adding a burrow hideout I made by myself from cardboard. This is great to encourage a hamster to burrow more. I also added some toilet paper for nesting. Now I'm adding my 13-inch wheel. Dwarf hamsters should have a wheel no smaller than 8 inches and Chinese and Syrian hamsters a wheel no smaller than 10 inches, but bigger is preferred. I'm adjusting the back of my wheel so I can use the base of it as a platform. Now it's time to add in the bedding. Hamsters are natural burrowers, and in the wild they would burrow up to 80 centimeters. Which means it's important to provide our hamsters with a lot of bedding. Paper and wood shavings are safe as long as they're unscented and you don't use anything like cedar or pine shavings. Don't forget to compact your bedding, and if you're using wood shavings, it's important to add hay layers in between to hold burrows better, as wood shavings aren't known as the best bedding to hold burrows. Then you want to add textures. This allows your hamster to feel a different texture and make your hamster's environment more interesting. It's also important to provide your hamster with a sand bath, as this gets rid of any excess oils they might have. Moving on to wooden items. Wooden items add a great texture to the enclosure and are great at keeping your hamster's nails trim. They also add clutter to the enclosure, which makes your hamster feel safer. Though it's important to sanitize your wooden items before putting them in the enclosure, as they could contain mites or other bugs. Here I'm also adding another hideout I got off my local pet store. It's important to always add a lot of hideouts so your hamster feels safe in their home. I thought I'd be a bit festive and add to the enclosure this cute mushroom hide I got off a German site. When you're adding ceramic hideouts such as this one to the enclosure, it's important to check that the diameter of the entrance is at least 7 centimeters for Syrian hamster and at least 5 centimeters for dwarf hamsters. The first texture I'm adding into the enclosure would be beach chips, which my hamster loves. And then I'm also going to add some cocoa fiber and then some sand. It's important to add a hideout into your hamster's sand bath so your hamster feels safer while cleaning themselves. You won't see me adding one here because my hamster was using it in his carrier. I then proceeded to add some bark for more texture on some parts of the enclosure. I then added some hay for more color and texture. Make sure that if you're using hay to use soft hay and not stiffer hay because that can poke a hamster's eye. Another great source of enrichment are sprays, which make the hamster work for its food and forage. The amount and type of sprays you use completely depends on the hamster. For example, if your hamster chooses to eat fattier sprays, you might either choose to remove the spray or not to change it as often. Then probably my favorite part, herbs. Herbs add a great smell and color to the enclosure, and if a hamster chooses to eat it, it has great health benefits. Lastly, I'm adding chews. Chews aren't essentially necessary to add to the enclosure, as a hamster is able to keep its teeth down through other behaviors, but this is a great way to encourage that more and also keep your hamster busy. Now I'm gonna add Sushi in, and to see his reaction to his new enclosure, you can wait for the next video. Thank you for watching!